Hello learners, today we are going to discuss PPCC 103, that is Psychology of Individual Differences, and today we are going to discuss about Block 2, Intelligence and Aptitude. In this BPCC 103, there are 5 blocks and total 10 units, and today we are going to discuss Unit 3 and 4, Concepts of Intelligence and Emotional Intelligence, then Theories of Intelligence. So let us see what is intelligence. So basically in this section we'll define intelligence, how to measure it. However, in detail we'll discuss in our next class about the intelligence assessment. Then influence of nature and nurture on intelligence, approaches to intelligence, and concept of emotional intelligence. So, after listening this talk, you will be able to understand the meaning and definition of intelligence. You will understand the concept of intelligence quotient, that is IQ, and intelligence testing. And you will also able to understand the influence of both genetic as well as environmental factors on intelligence of a person. At the same time, you will be able to understand different approaches, psychometric and cognitive, to understand the nature of the intelligence, then concept of the intelligence, and factors contributing to the development of the intelligence. Let us define intelligence. So, intelligence is a basically hypothetical construct. It is equated with a higher level abstract thought processes, the aggregate or global capacity of an individual. Basically, David Wechsler has defined it in a very comprehensive manner. So, it is an aggregate and global capacity of an individual to think rationally, to act purposefully, and to deal effectively. So there are basically three components of in this definition. Like your thinking must be rational, your act must be purposeful, and whatever the environment is there, you can effectively deal with the environment. So if these three things are there, it means you are intelligent. So other authors have defined it differently, but the Wechsler's definition is the best definition till that. So Boring has defined it as a intelligence refers to what it measured by tests of intelligence. So this is like circular definition. It's very difficult to understand what is intelligence. Then Binet, Alfred Binet and Theodore Salmon designed a test of intelligence that distinguished fast learners and slow learners in France. So this was the actually first attempt to assess the intelligence, and they gave the concept of mental age. And mental age is a measure of person's intellectual development relative to people of his or her age group, and it will be divided by chronological age, that is biological age, in years. So mental age is basically the person who performs the way person performs on a particular task gives mental age. So some of the tests like Binet-Simon test is basically giving mental age, whereas mind and social maturity skill is giving mental age like of, that is social age. So what is IQ? So intelligent quotient or IQ was devised by William Stern in 1912. First time he has coined this term, intelligence quotient. It refers to mental age divided by chronological age and multiplied by 100. So whatever mental age is got the person on a particular test and his actual chronological age. So if you divide the mental age with chronological age, for example, if mental age is 10 years and the boy's age is 10 years, so and it will be multiplied by 100. So the IQ will be 100. So this is the formula to calculate the IQ. IQ equal to MA upon CA into 100. It is the mathematical average or mean for IQ scores. Modern intelligence tests use deviation IQ instead of ratio IQ. So, like Wechsler's test doesn't use this formula because that is using deviation IQ. There are norms and how much deviation is there. If deviation is in upper side, IQ is more. If deviation is in lower side, the IQ is less. The average IQ score in the population is 100. If you see this graph, so if you take the plus minus uh, one standard score, so it will come around 68% of the population, 34.1 plus 34.1. So, so around 61% of the 68% of the population is having average IQ, whereas 13.6% is having more than average IQ. 2.1% is having more than 130 IQ, and more than 145 IQ, 0.1%. Same way, those who are having minus 2 standard score, so they are 13.6% of the population, they are having IQ less than 85, and IQ 55 to 70 around 2.1%, and less than 55 around 1%. So if you see the IQ less than 70, it comes around 2.2%. So the people with IQ score in the range of 90 to 110 have normal intelligence, or 90 to 109. It's considered as normal or average intelligence. IQ score above 130 are considered as having exceptional, talented people, extraordinary people, whereas people having more than 140 IQ is considered as genius. And IQ below 70 may mean that the person may have mental retardation or intellectual disability. This is the classification of IQ scores given by the Wechsler. And if you use Wechsler intelligence scale, any test of Wechsler's, you will get scores, and you can interpret the score on the basis of the definition. So, like IQ below 70, they are mentally retarded, or now we are calling it intellectual disability. Then 70 to 90 are considered as borderline intelligence. 80 to 89 considered as low average intelligence, whereas 90 to 109 considered as average intelligence. 110 to 119 are considered as high average. 120 to 130 are considered as superior, and above 30 are considered very superior. So actually 130 to 139 are considered very superior, and more than 140 considered genius. So there are no tests to assess the genius. So remember these scores. It will help you in understand the any person's intellectual level. So now let us see the influence of nature and nurture on intelligence. Nature means the biological predisposition of the person. Nurture means the environment where the person is living. So, if the environment is deprived, the manifestation of IQ may not be the true reflection of the person. So, whether heredity or environment has the larger role in determining intelligence or an individual is a debatable issue, and this is known as nature and nurture controversy or debate on intelligence. You might be knowing that the Watson, the behaviorist who claimed the role of nurture is more. So he told that if you give me 12 children, I'll make them what I want to make them. I'll make them doctor, engineer, another one as criminal. So, but he failed because it is a mixture of nature and nurture. So let us see the influence of nature on intelligence. So there are twin studies. Twin means the children who are born together. The Mean correlation between IQ of identical twin was plus uh, 86, and it was plus zero point 0.6 for the fraternal twins, and it was 0.72 for identical twins raised in different homes. So if you see the relationship like siblings reared together, so the mean correlation is 0.47, whereas sibling reared apart, the correlation between the both the IQ is 0.24. The parents and child living together, the mean correlation will be 0.42, and parent and child reared apart, the mean correlation Q is 0.22, and the adopted parent child, the mean correlation is plus 0.19. It means if siblings stay together, their IQ will be more or less same. But if their rearing happened apart, like one sibling is with the parents, another one is with another person or couple, so the IQ may not be that much correlated. It means though the by birth the IQ should be same, but due to environment, the uh, scores may have some discrepancy. So now let us see the influence of nurture on intelligence. So how environment affect the intelligence? So basically, there is no doubt environment affects if the deprived environment is there. If there are no stimulus in the environment, the IQ will be less, even though the person was genetically having more IQ. So the mean correlation for twin raised in different homes is 0.72, whereas that for twins raised in the same home is 0.86. It means there is some impact of environment on the IQ. So this is 0.86 is correlation. Uh, this means that the twins raised in different homes have less similar IQ than the twins raised in same home. It means if the environment is same, the possibility of having IQ will be same. Adopted studies also indicate that the intelligence is not determined entirely by heredity. So, if they are heredity, if suppose they are genius, so and the environment is not very conducive, so the manifestation of the IQ will be less. So Flynn actually given this emphasis on the environment. That's why this is called the Flynn effect. So according to this Flynn effect, there is a rapid rise in individuals' average performance on IQ test in several Western countries in the recent decades. It means the individual's average performance on IQ test in several Western countries, and I said it in simpler words, increase in IQ score over generation. Like the earlier generation were scoring less than the new generation. It is also called secular rise in IQ scores. It suggests the role of environmental factors influencing human intelligence because nowadays there are so many stimulus. For example, mobile, tablet, laptop, TV. So the child they get so many exposures. So nowadays the even the child of age 1 or 2 they know how to see the YouTube on uh, mobile or tablet or laptop. So they used to see, and if there is a suppose they are watching any serial, any rhymes, or anything on the mobile YouTube, if there is any call, they immediately disconnect the call. So they know that this call will disturb the watching. So environmental deprivation and enrichment. Environmental deprivation lowers intelligence, there is no doubt, and rich nutritional quality is schooling and good family background increases intelligence. And this happens in the early stages of life, up to the age of 5 years, you can say. If the child is staying in a deprived environment, malnutrition is there, so there is a possibility of having less IQ. And social and economic deprivation can adversely affect IQ, and children from households in poverty have lower IQs. However, there are some exceptions, but this is the general trend. So, children having trauma or face trauma may have less IQ with having some other problems also. Biological influences. So nutrition has been shown to affect human intelligence. So that's why we should always take nutritious diet. Prolonged malnutrition during critical early periods of growth can affect the neurological development and cognitive development. Toxic substances like alcohol, drugs, radiation, lead-based paint dust can affect neurological development in the children. So it affects basically growth of the brain. In fetal alcohol syndrome, where when the child was in womb and the mother was taking alcohol or smoking, the children show retarded physical growth and mental growth if alcohol is consumed during pregnancy by the mother. And now nowadays it is very much clear that the alcohol is as harmful as other substances. Like earlier, it was told that the alcohol is good for heart or something, but now studies are coming. Even a small quantity of alcohol may be detrimental to your health. So, what are the approaches to intelligence? Let us see. One way to understand intelligence is through component psychometric approach, whereas another way is intellectual processes. So that is cognitive approach. So all these two approaches will help us to understand the concept of intelligence. So let us see the first the psychometric approach. Charles Spearman has given two factor theory of intelligence. One factor is G factor, that is general factor, common mental functions to all performances, and another factor is S factor, which is specific factor, specifically related to each particular test or various activities of the person. So, this according to Spearman, the intelligence test should have more component related to general factor than the specific factor. But Thurston criticized this two-factor theory, and he has given theory of primary mental ability. And according to him, there are seven such abilities, not only just two. And these seven abilities are verbal comprehension, like grasping meaning of words, concepts, and ideas, and understanding the whatever the people are saying. Verbal fluency, like using words fluently and flexibly, like within a minute, how many words you can fluently recite or speak. Numerical ability, it is like solving numerical computation and arithmetic reasoning problems with speed and accuracy. So that is numerical ability. Spatial ability, that's like visualizing and manipulating objects, maze learning, remembering the ways or roads and the route of the places. Inductive reasoning, like ability to derive general rules and principles from presented facts. And memory, that is ability to recall information, and perceptual speed, the speed of perceiving the details. So these are the seven abilities given by Thurston: verbal comprehension, verbal fluency, numerical abilities, spatial ability, inductive reasoning, memory, and perceptual speed. But Raymond B. Cater in 1963 has given again described intelligence from two points of view. One is crystallized intelligence. According to him, it consists of the knowledge a person has already acquired and the ability to use that knowledge whenever required. So basically, crystallized intelligence is consisting of the person's experiences and which he can use those experiences whenever it is required. The another thing is fluid intelligence. It is used when dealing with novel situations and problems. So there are no role of past experiences for fluid intelligence. It will be on the spot. So another person, Arthur Jensen, has given hierarchical model of intelligence, and according to him, it consists of abilities operating at two levels: level one and level two. Level one abilities are like associative learning. It consists of rote learning and memory. The output is more or less similar to the input. So, like when you do not understand some concept, so what we do, we wrote the concept line by line, word by word, by heart. So in the exam, we just um, write those things. So, according to this level one ability, the associative learning is whatever you have learned, you can recall only those things. So, input is equivalent to output. So in level two, the cognitive learning, it's a higher order skills such as abstract thinking and symbolic thoughts and transformation of the input to produce an effective output. So here in level two, like the cognitive aspects are more involved. That's why innovations, imagination, new learning is there. Whereas in cognitive approaches, uh, it's basically talks about the role of thinking or further higher cognitive functions. So Robert Sternberg in 1985 given the model of information processing consisted of three types of components. So first is knowledge acquisition component, that is like encoding and comparing information. So where you just gain the knowledge from various sources, and then performance components like problem solving strategies and techniques, and metacognitive components like selecting a strategy and monitoring the progress of cognitive processes. So three basic types of intelligence as per Sternberg, like componential or analytic intelligence, the ability to think carefully, critically, and analytically. So, and then experiential or creative intelligence, that is focuses on insight and the ability to formulate new ideas. And third one is contextual or practical intelligence, like ability to deal with the environmental demands. So, and then Howard Gardner in 1983, he tried to understand the intelligence, and according to him, the intelligence is not a single entity, rather, it consists of numerous abilities. So, remember, all these theories either they are talking about two factor or seven factors or multiple factors. But remember, David Wechsler has already said that it is a global or aggregate ability of the person. So they are basically talking about those things only. So according to him, like intelligence is not a single entity, rather it consists of numerous abilities like linguistic, verbal abilities, logical, mathematical ability, spatial ability like finding out the roots and remembering those things, musical abilities, bodily kinesthetic abilities, interpersonal ability, intrapersonal ability. Interpersonal means relationship between two or more persons. Intrapersonal matlab within the person. Naturalistic ability and existential abilities. So there is another model given called as PASS or given by J.P. Das is planning, attention, arousal, simultaneous and successive model. So human cognitive processes involve three functional units of brain. The first functional unit is responsible for arousal and attention. Second functional unit is involved in analyzing, coding, and strong information using simultaneous and successive processes. And third functional unit is used for planning, self-monitoring, and structuring of cognitive abilities. And all these approaches we'll discuss in theories of learning in detail. So, according to this PAS model, attention arousal, this process involves the ability to selectively attend the stimuli while ignoring other distractors. Simultaneous processing is this involves the ability to integrate separate concepts to our knowledge system as an interrelated whole. Successive processing is this involves the ability to remember and integrate information into a sequential order. And planning is this is the ability to make decision about problem solving and how to carry out the task. So till now we had seen the definition of intelligence, and we have little bit discussed about the assessment and different various approaches to understand the intelligence. Now let us discuss about the concepts of emotional intelligence. So it is first introduced by Saloy and Mayer, and later on Daniel Goleman, and it was later popularized and expanded upon by Daniel Goleman in his book Emotional Intelligence: Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. And Saloy and Mayer, they defined EQ as the ability to monitor one's own and others' feelings and emotions, to discriminate among them, and to use this information to guide one's thinking and actions. Emotional quotient is used to express emotional intelligence. So there are models of emotional intelligence. Ability model. The construct of emotional intelligence meets the traditional criteria for intelligence. It is a mental ability just like intelligence. A Trier model like encompasses behavioral dispositions and self-perceived abilities. It is measured through self-report questionnaires. Mixed model, they mix the ability conception with personality traits and competencies such as optimism, self-esteem, and emotional self-efficacy. So basically, why the concept of emotional intelligence came? Because it was seen that people who are having very good IQ, high IQ, and very good marks, they were topper, and they were doing very good business or in a job. They are managing the big companies well, but in managing the people, in managing their emotions, they are not so good. So that's why this concept came. So Mayer and Salovey's model of emotional intelligence, this is ability-based model. Emotional intelligence includes four types of ability. Perception of emotion. It includes the ability to identify and differentiate emotions in the self and others. Some of us may not be able to find out our emotional state. Use of emotion to facilitate thinking. This refers to using emotions to facilitate cognitive activities such as reasoning, problem solving, and interpersonal communication. Understanding and analyzing emotion. This is third quality. This includes the ability to comprehend the language and meaning of emotion, as well as an understanding of the antecedents of emotions. And fourth one is reflective regulation of emotion. It includes the ability to regulate and modify an emotional response in oneself and others. So let us see the Goleman's theory of emotional intelligence. Goleman has given five essential components. First one is self-awareness. And remember, students, this is very important component in our life. We must be self-aware. What is going in our mind? What is going due to emotions or the states, how we are behaving. We should be aware about our own thinking, emotions, mood, actions, everything. It refers to the ability to recognize and understand one's mood, emotions, and drives as well as their effects on other people. Self regulation. It involves controlling or redirecting one's disruptive impulses and emotions. Third, motivation. It drives the individual to achieve things. Fourth, empathy. It is the ability to understand the emotions of other people as well as to feel what others are feeling. Social skills. It helps in managing relationship and building social network. Comprehensive performance tests of emotional intelligence. Mayer and Salovi Caruso emotional intelligence test for adults, and another test is for youth. And problem with emotional testing is emotional tests do not show higher reliability and construct validity. Factors contributing to emotional intelligence. Nature nurture concept. Nature, like individuals, are born with a general emotional intelligence that determines their potential for learning the emotional competencies. Whereas nurture, like emotional competency within each construct of emotional intelligence, emotional competencies are not innate talents, but rather learned capabilities that must be worked on and can be developed to achieve outstanding performance. So we have completed the unit 3. Now we have to see the theories of intelligence. Hope you have understood the concept of intelligence and emotional intelligence. So here we'll again see whatever we have studied till now discussed. We'll see all this theory in detail now. So we'll learn about the psychometric approaches, information processing approach, cognitive approach to understand various theories of intelligence. So three main approaches for intelligence. Psychometric approach includes two-factor theory of Charles Spearman, fluid and crystallized intelligence of Cattell, G factor and crystallized factor, GF and GC model. Thurston's primary mental abilities, which talked about seven, and Guilford's structure of intellect model and Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence. Then information processing approach includes triarchic theory of Robert Sternberg and past theory. And cognitive approaches include Jean Piaget's theory of intelligence. So in around 20 to 25 minutes, we'll see all this theory in detail. So let us first see the Spearman's two-factor theory of intelligence. Charles Spearman, he used the techniques of factor analysis and correlational analysis to find out the G and S factor. G for general factor, S for specific factor. The two tests are mechanical, M, and N numerical, and the common factor in these tests is G, and the specific factors are specific mechanical and specific numerical, SM and SN. G and S factor of Spearman's two-factor theory. So G factor is common. It must be there in all specific factors. Like you see the overlapping of G factor in almost all specific factor. And S is a specific factor, mechanical, spatial, numerical, verbal. So whatever specific factor is there, G factor must be included in that. Thurston's theory of intelligence, Louis Leon Thurston, he talked about the intelligence is a composite of seven distinct primary mental abilities called PMA, primary mental abilities. So he pointed out that intelligence consists of a number of primary mental abilities, and these abilities are, as we have just now discussed, inductive reasoning, the ability to find rules, or the logical reasoning ability, or reasoning you can say. Memory, the ability to memorize and recall. Numerical abilities, the ability to solve arithmetic problem, to do simple calculations. Perceptual speed, the ability to visualize details rapidly. And spatial relations, the ability to understand relationship, root finding, etc. And verbal comprehension, the ability of reading comprehension, define and understand words, concepts, ideas. Verbal reasoning, understand the whatever others are saying. All these come under verbal comprehension. Then word fluency, the ability to produce words rapidly. So all these seven factors, they decide about the intelligence, and they are called PMA, primary mental process. Whereas Guilford given a structure of intellect called SI, structure of intellect, SI theory. George Paul Guilford, 1897, he has said that the intelligence is a combination of multiple activity. It's not like as David Wessler defined, aggregate or global. So same way, Guilford said that the intelligence is a combination of multiple activities. The model was based on factor analysis. He first proposed a model with 120 intellectual abilities and later on revised it to 180. So this model is represented as a cube with each of the three dimensions occupying one side. So that is 5 into 6 into 6, that is 180 specific abilities given by Guilford. This model is also called three-dimensional model, represented in the form of a cube. So you will see the three dimensions of that cube. So three dimensions are contents, operations, and products. Under content dimensions, it includes following component: visual, auditory, symbolic, semantic, and behavioral. So these five components are included in content dimensions, whereas in operations dimension, it consists of 6 operations or general intellectual process. So cognition is the ability to understand, comprehend, discover, and become aware of information. So first component, operations component dimension is cognition. Another one is memory recording, the ability to encode information. Memory retention, that is the ability to recall information whenever the need is there. Divergent production, the ability to generate multiple solutions to a problem, creativity. Convergent production, the ability to reduce a single solution to a problem, rule following or problem solving. Evaluation, the ability to judge whether or not information is accurate. So, what are these factors? Evaluation, convergent production, divergent production, memory retention, memory recording, and cognition. So, these are the 6 operations dimensions. And if we see the products dimensions, so there are again 6 products dimensions with increasing complexity. So one is units, like represents a single item of information or knowledge. Then classes, a set of items that share some common attributes. So unit is simple and class is little complex. Then relations are more complex than classes. It represents a connection between items and variables. Systems are more complex than, let's say, so it's an organization of items or a network with interacting parts. Then transformations, like changes, perspectives, and conversations or mutations of knowledge. And implications, is like predictions, interference, inferences, consequences, or anticipations of knowledge. So if we see the J.P. Guilford's structure of intellect model, so intelligence, so content in content, visual, auditory, symbolic, semantic, and behavioral components are there, whereas operations are like cognitions, memory, recording, memory retention, divergent productions, convergent production, evaluations, and under products, units, classes, relations, systems, transformations, implications. So all these components make intelligence, and these components interact with each other. So 5 into 6 into 6, it becomes 180. Now let us see the Cattell's theory of intelligence. Raymond B. Cattell in 1905 to 1998 has given concepts of intelligence to understand that through fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. So, according to him, fluid intelligence refers to the ability for abstract and logical thinking and does not require any prior knowledge. So, it is considered to be more or less genetically hereditary. Where crystallized intelligence is the knowledge that one gains through learning, past experiences, acculturation, and the ability to use the acquired knowledge. It depends upon the past learning and experiences, and it is acquired. GC increases with age, and the experience of GF declines gradually. So basically, this crystallized intelligence is depending upon the environment. If the environment is conducive, the stimuluses are there, so the intelligence could be more. If the deprived environment is there, then the intelligence will be less than those who are staying in a enriched environment. Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence. So Howard Gardner in 1983 initially proposed 8 types of intelligence, which later on he increased to 9. Initially he was just talked about the 8 types, but later on 9 types. The utility and value of each type of intelligence is culturally determined. So these 9 types, the of intelligence is basically determined by the culture, how useful it is for the culture, how valuable it is for that culture. So multiple intelligences, linguistic intelligence refers to the ability to use languages. Logical, so mathematical intelligence is the ability to use logical reasoning and mathematical abilities. Musical intelligence is the ability to use rhymes, rhythms, sounds, patterns to create, compose, and perform music. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence is the ability to use and control one's body movements and actions. Spatial intelligence is the capacity to perceive, understand, and use spatial and visual information effectively. Interpersonal intelligence refers to the ability to understand others and social interaction, whereas intrapersonal intelligence is the ability to understand oneself and know one's thoughts, emotions, feelings, motives, and desires, and how these influence their behavior. Naturalistic intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand the various patterns in nature. And last and ninth one is existential intelligence, refers to the sensitivity and capacity to tackle deep questions beyond sensory data and about human existence, such as meaning of one's life. Why have we come to this world? Why do we die? Where do we go after death, etc. So Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences is basically like uh, linguistics, logical, musical, kinesthetic, spatial, naturalistic, existential, interpersonal, intrapersonal. So all these nine factors, they are related to theory of multiple intelligence of Gardner's. Now let us see the Sternberg's triarchic theory of intelligence. So Sternberg in 1988 given the triarchic theory of intelligence, three types of intelligence, com- componential and analytical intelligence, experiential or creative intelligence, and contextual or practical intelligence. Now let us see all these three phenomena separately in little bit detail. So first we'll see componential or analytical intelligence. It is to like the ability to break down the problem into components and analyze things for problem solving. So this is the, like if the problem is there, you divide the problem into different steps or parts or different units and solve the problem one by one, unit by unit. So this is the componential or analytical intelligence. It further consists of three components such as meta components, performance components, and knowledge acquisition components. So what are the three components? Meta components, performance components, and knowledge acquisition components. Meta components are the executive parts which controls the other two components. Performance components help in performing a task or solving a problem, whereas knowledge acquisition components help in acquiring knowledge and uses different strategies for it. So these are the three components. Meta components, so basically controls all these two components, and performance components basically helps in problem solving, and knowledge acquisitions basically help in acquiring knowledge. Another component like experiential or creative intelligence, it refers to new ways of problem solving by engaging in divergent thinking. It includes two components, automation and novelty. Automation means some aspects of information processing are automated. They do not require much attention, effort, or energy, whereas contextual or practical intelligence, like it refers to the ability to use information to function effectively in life. It is also known as street smart or being high on common sense. It includes the components sub-theories of adaptation, shaping, and selection. Adaptation takes place when one makes changes within oneself to adjust to a new environment. Shaping up occurs when one changes one's environment according to his requirement. And selection is done when a completely new environment is replaced with the older ineffective one. So the three components like adaptation, first you try to adapt to the environment, shaping like you try to little bit modify the environment, and selection is like you change the environment. So you suppose if you are in a new situation, new job, new place, you try to adjust, and then you try to modify a little bit others also, environment also. And if you like still find difficulty in adjustment, so you change the environment, you try to get the another job. Sternberg's triarchic theory is like three components: componential subtheory, experiential subtheory, and contextual subtheory. So it's like componential subtheory, meta components, performance, knowledge acquisition, which we have just talked now. Then experiential components, novelty and automation. Okay. And contextual subtheory, adaptation, selection, and shaping. Okay. Adaptation means you try to adapt to the environment. Shaping means you try to modify the environment. Selection means you change the environment or you move to the another environment. Now let us see the past theory of intelligence. It was given by J.P. Das et al. Das, Naglieri, and Kepi in 1994. The PASS stands for planning, arousal attention, simultaneous and successive processing. So theory is based on Luria's, is a neuropsychologist, conception of three functions unit of brain. So you might be heard the name of Luria, Nebraska neuropsychological battery that assesses the brain functions and highly used by clinical neuropsychologists. So neuropsychology generally they use this battery given by Luria. So the first unit is concerned with cortical arousal and attention and is located in the brain stem and the reticular activating system. So you might have studied about the brain and you might be knowing that where is the cortex and the stem cell, brain stem and reticular formation. The second unit involves coding of information, either simultaneous or successive coding processing. Simultaneous processing of information is represented by a holistic or comprehensive approach to processing of information. It is associated with the occipital and parietal lobe of the brain. You might be knowing that there are four lobes of the brain: frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe, and occipital lobe. So, successive processing refers to a processing of information in a sequential way and is carried out by frontal temporal part of the brain. This third unit deals with planning, which include decision making, self-monitoring, self-regulation, and problem solving. It is broadly located in prefrontal area of the brain. So PASS model presents a comprehensive model of intelligence. It basically describes about the role of brain in intelligence. It integrates the neuropsychological aspects, cognitive and psychometric approaches to intelligence. So it is basically attempt to integrate neuropsychological aspect, psychometric aspect, and cognitive aspects of intelligence. It views intelligence in a contextual background through knowledge based. The Das Naglieri cognitive assessment system. So they have given one test also called CAS, CAS, cognitive assessment system, is a comprehensive assessment that includes tests to assess each of the four components of the PAS model. It also provides remedial measures in case of processing difficulty. So if there is a processing information processing difficulties, so this test is also helpful in remedial measure like cognitive retraining. So you can understand this. There is an input. So arousal or attention, brain system, limbic system, they activate, and then planning, that is frontal lobe function, and that may to simultaneous and successive like occipital and parietal and temporal, and all these three affect each other then output. Now let us see the cross-cultural concepts of conception of intelligence. So what is cross-cultural conception? The concept of intelligence started from unitary notion to multiple intelligences that we have seen, and there are cultural differences in the conceptualization and expression of intelligence. And the Western culture views intelligence more in terms of abstraction and generalization, whereas non Western cultures relate intelligence more to the social context. So, like in Western culture, if the person is street smart and the abstraction is very good, generalization abilities are good, so the person is considered intelligent. Whereas in Asian countries, especially in Asian countries and other non-Western cultures, the intelligence is more related to social context. If the person is not able to do his social responsibility, societal norms cannot be maintained, so the person considered as less intellectual. So intelligence is perceived on the background of societal factors. So in Indian context, it is viewed in terms of relations or sensitivity to the context. So if a person is not understanding the relation, not able to maintain the relation, not able to deal effectively with the relationship, or he is not very sensitive, so he may not be considered as an intellectual person. Indian notion of intelligence is multifaceted, which includes not only the cognitive component but also the emotional, social, and entrepreneurial competence. So, entrepreneurial competence, social competence, emotional competence, and so not only just cognitive. So the person is like the part of the society. The person is doing some business or in some job. The person is a member of family. So if the person is able to fulfill all these requirements, able to solve all these issues effectively, then the person is then the person is considered as intelligent. So not only cognitive components but emotional, social, and entrepreneurial competence. Thanks. So we had today discussed about the various aspects of intelligence. First, we had discussed about the uh, what is concepts of intelligence, what is intelligence, definition. So definition given by Webster was the best, like it is an aggregate or global capacity of the person to think rationally, act purposefully, and deal effectively with the environment. So almost all theories of intelligence is basically based on this, and this definition is the best definition. Then we had seen about the impact of heredity and environment on the intelligence, and basically it is mixture of both. Like if the person is already having intelligence and then his a person is getting good environment, conducive environment, but if the person is having less intelligence and getting good environment, may not be having that much more IQ. And if the person is having good good IQ, but not stimulus were not given, and the person was in deprived environment, so the manifestation of the IQ will be less. So environment and genetics, heredity, they determine about the intelligence. Then we had gone through the emotional intelligence, which given by the book written by Daniel Goleman is the most popular book, and he has talked about the why some people are successful in business, complete failure in their personal life because they lack emotional intelligence, or they are very successful but not able to manage their emotions in their business. They used to shout, they used to um, like had quarrel with their colleagues, with their subordinates. So all these things are basically related to emotional intelligence. Then we had discussed all the theories which we had discussed in detail and now, and some theories basically talks about the psychometric approach, and some theories actually talked about the um, psychometric approach and cognitive approach. So, but all these theories basically they talk about the various aspects of the intelligence, and it is uh, very much important. Thank you.